So guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Dark Skies series. In this episode, we're going to be covering uplighting of this beautiful tree and all the surrounding foliage that we have here, and looking at the impact that that lighting is going to have on any surrounding wildlife. Stay tuned. So guys, in this episode we're going to cover the different types of uplights that would typically be used for these kind of features. So really we're going to be illuminating up the trunk of this tree here. So this is a 10 watt LED floodlight. Then we've got a G10 Spotlight, one of our own spotlights here at Hudson Lighting. And finally, one of our recessed lights. We typically see this used quite a bit too, especially in decking. Okay, so here we've got the 10 watt floodlight. So you can see there's a lot of glare coming off from this angle, just being at low level, not even standing up. But we've got good light into the lower foliage and the trunk. There's great shadowing behind, and then the upper foliage. Then we have spillover all the way around. There's quite a large amount of spillover. In fact, you can see that the back of the lockers here are actually cutting off the spillover from there. So it's a huge amount of spillover. So if we actually observe that from above, well, this is standing height, looking down on it, you can see there's a huge amount of glare. And as we come above, as you can see, it's kind of like looking at a really bright sun, or even a very bright night sky moon. And you can imagine how that would impact any flying insects or birds, etc. So now we've got the G10 Spotlight. Now the last light was in 3000K, this one's in 4000K, so much cooler. And you can see again, good illumination on the trunk. It's a little bit more focused. Great illumination on the underside of the foliage there. Some really good shadowing down here. But again, quite a large spillover. I mean, this isn't a very high output light. I mean, the last one was 10 watt, I think about 1200 lumen or 1000 lumen. This one's 400 lumens, so lower output. But again, same issue. So if we come above, as we go cooler in color, this really does look much more like the moon. So you can imagine more insects circling this light. So here we've got one of our own spotlights. This one's in 2700K. As you can see, there's some really great lower illumination. As we move up, shadowing, and some great illumination to the underside of the tree. But again, still the same spillover. It's slightly less in some ways, but it's still quite pronounced. So again, we've got a very bright output of light there. Could easily be mistaken as the moon or morning sun. So there is some impact there on the wildlife as well. Kind of appropriate with all upward looking fittings. Here we've got the final one that you might see, which is a recessed light. So again, it's another type of uplighting. There is quite a large spillover. It's really great for shadowing and picking up the under foliage and the trunk. We've still got a very bright spot at the bottom there, but that's to do with positioning and how close we've positioned to the trunk itself. But it has the same issue with regards to, we look overhead and you have that moon, very bright moon style effect that's going to attract insects and affect overhead flying wildlife. So guys, I hope I've been able to show you some of the types of lights that can cause issues. So the next thing that we're going to be really looking at is how do we prevent or lower the issues caused by these lights? How can we position, how can we adjust and change, and what kind of colour temperatures we can do in our next video. One other thing to note is that with the recessed lights, that could easily be positioned in decking or paving facing upwards, and that can cause very much the same issue. So we're not talking about necessarily the feature as such, more about the way the light is illuminating, i.e. upwards, which is kind of what we want to avoid as much as possible. But next week we'll talk about, if you really have to light upwards, what can you do to kind of mitigate the effects as much as possible. Now, I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a like, give it a good thumbs up. And if you've got any comments, put them down below. finally, if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe, and please let me know if there's any further content that you want me to add, as I'll be continuing with the Dark Skies theme, but I'll be doing other lots of side projects as well. Anyway, hope you have a lovely day, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.